It's beet harvest, so I am whipping up some fantastic farm lunches for Nick and me, of course. But first, I'm hosting a bake-off between the non-farmers in the workshop. And for that, I am entering with my combine cookies, which are thick and chocolatey and filled with all of the tastiest bites of my kitchen sink dreams. I'm pretty sure I have this bake-off in the bag. I'll start by melting 1 cup of unsalted butter. I love starting chocolate chip cookies with melted butter because it yields a super dense, chewy cookie, which I just love. I'm using a combination of 1 cup of light brown sugar and ½ a cup of granulated sugar. I'll pour in my melted butter and give it a whisk. Another thing that's nice about using melted butter as opposed to softened butter is that you don't have to get the stand mixer out. These can all come together in one bowl. I'll whisk this around to combine the butter and the sugar, and I also want the butter to cool a little bit more before I add the eggs, because I don't want to cook the eggs when I crack them in. I'm gonna address the tractor in the room, which is that I'm calling these combine cookies because a combine is a big piece of farm machinery, but I'm still learning my farm equipment, and you don't use a combine at all during the beet growing process. You use it for wheat. But I love alliteration, hence combine cookie. I wasn't gonna call these beet lifter cookies. No one said these had to be accurate in name. They just have to be tasty. Butter and sugar are combined, and I can feel on the outside of the bowl that the butter is no longer hot. So I'm gonna crack in my eggs 1 at a time, whisking after each, just to allow the dough to come together in a nice cohesive manner. Butter and sugar smells so good. It's a shame that the beet fields don't actually smell like freshly baked cookies in the same way that wheat fields smells like pizza. All right, next, a tablespoon of vanilla, which is quite a bit of vanilla, but I like adding an extra splash of vanilla whenever I'm making something chocolatey because vanilla really enhances chocolate. Then I'll add the dry ingredients right on top of the wet ingredients. 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'll sprinkle it all over the surface of the wet ingredients, which helps with even distribution of the dry ingredients. 1 1/4 cups of Dutch processed cocoa powder. It has a bolder, richer flavor and color, so it's really representing the dirt in these cookies. 1 teaspoon each of baking powder and baking soda, which will help the cookies puff up while they're baking and then lead to a nice chewy texture. And whenever you're baking with baking soda, you need something acidic to react with it in order for it to do its thing. And there is a good amount of acidity in the molasses that's in brown sugar. So that's where your little science experiment is coming from. And lastly, 1 1/2 teaspoons of kosher salt, as chocolate just tastes better with a little extra salt, sort of like caramel in that way. Now, while all of the dry ingredients are sitting here on top of the wet ingredients, I'm gonna give them a rough little whisk so that they can combine amongst themselves. And then I'll slowly incorporate them in with the wet ingredients. When the dough becomes too thick to whisk, I'll switch to a rubber spatula. When I first moved to the farm, I had all this time on my hands because Nick had these really long days harvesting, and so I just baked all day and it was awesome. And during harvest, it's perfect because there are extra farmers around, more mouths to feed. So I would put all of my baked goods on a table in the workshop for them to grab before a shift or after a shift. And I felt like I had a little pop-up bakery out there. And then a few years ago, my mother-in-law, Roxanne, and my mom, Jody, started adding their baked goods to my pop-up bakery. And I was like, what's going on? Why are you like encroaching on my thing? But I figured rather than be rude, I'll make it fun and do a blind bake-off. And in the words of Nick, give him a good old-fashioned shellacking. The dough is looking good and chocolatey. I'm ready for the mix-ins. 1/3 cup of caramel bits, which are going to be these little sweet, chewy moments throughout the cookie. 1/3 cup of chocolate-covered espresso beans because you need caffeine when you're harvesting for very long hours every day. And then some white chocolate chips, which are such a nice contrast to the chocolate cookie. Rainbow chips because they're cute and they're crunchy. And then peanut butter filled pretzels. Nick keeps a bulk bin of these in the workshop at all times of the year. So I know that he loves these. He loves the espresso beans. He loves chocolate. I'm gonna win this bake-off. I'm gonna coarsely crush these with my hands as I add them in. I want some big bits because the combination of the pretzel, which is nice and crunchy, in the chewy cookie is such a great texture party. It's got everything but the combine. I'll just fold them all in. Honestly, even if I don't win, I feel like I'll be a winner when I eat these. I'm gonna win. I have to win. I have to win. I've got 2 baking sheets lined on the bottom with parchment. I like a big cookie because you get more chewy center, and you do that by using a great big cookie scoop and then overfilling it. Looks great already. I'll flatten it slightly. And then I always like to ski some of the mix-ins on top of the cookies. So I'll plug in some big bits of pretzel, a couple of pieces of white chocolate, and obviously rainbow chips. And then a little sprinkle of flaky salt will be sparkly and extra tasty. I'll keep on scooping and then bake at 350 degrees for about 12 minutes until they're set around the edges, but still gooey in the center, because no one ever complained about a gooey cookie. Holy chocolate peanut butter buckets. It smells so good in here. I'm gonna check on my cookies. Oh yeah, baby. Well, they certainly look like first place cookies. Let me make sure that they taste like first place cookies. Going straight for the center. Zoinks! That is the ultimate combination of sweet and salty and crunchy and chewy. Get ready, moms. Beet Harvest Bake Off, here I come. Every beet harvest gets around 10 lunches in total. I pack a ton of food into one backpack until all the sugar is harvested. And this side is one of my favorites to include. I am making kimchi mac and cheese. It's a 1-pot, easy cheesy mac that has the added bonus of kimchi. So it's spicy and fermenty, and the kimchi is such a great combination with the cheddar. Plus, it all comes together in the braiser. I'm not even gonna cook the noodles first. What? I'll start by adding a drizzle of oil to my pot here, and then I'll cook up my veggies. So I have my chopped kimchi here. Kimchi and cheddar cheese are like peanut butter and jelly. They go together so well. Also a chopped onion, and I've got a few chopped scallions here. I'm just gonna add the white parts of the scallions first. They're tougher, so they need a little bit more time to cook down and soften. And then I'll reserve the scallion greens to add at the end. A good pinch of salt will help these cook down. I'll just allow these to soften for a few minutes. So kimchi is fermented veggies. Commonly it's cabbage. It's spicy and so delicious. Think of it as sauerkraut's hot Korean cousin. It's just a great vegetable to have on hand because it can keep in the refrigerator for a really long time, and you can eat it right out of the jar. It's that good. A little bit of chopped garlic will boost the flavor. Enhances kimchi really nicely as well. I'll cook the garlic for just about a minute until I can start to smell it. I'm ready to add my pasta. I've got 12 ounces of cascatelli, which is a really fun shape that catches sauce really well. So I love it for mac and cheese. You could really use any small pasta here though. I'll spread it out evenly, then pour in 3 cups of water, which is gonna be just enough to come to the top of the pasta. Cooking the pasta in a small amount of water like this is great because you don't have to drain it. It also helps concentrate the starch that comes out of the pasta, and that's gonna give you a nice, thick, creamy sauce. Can't forget to salt it. Good few pinches or about a teaspoon of salt. I'll bring this to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer and allow it to cook until the pasta is just shy of al dente. Depending on the type of pasta, this could take anywhere between 4 and 10 minutes. Harvest always starts at the beginning of October, and then it goes for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because it's crucial that they get the beets out of the ground before the ground freezes. So it's kind of got a little extra energy because everyone's just trying to get all those beets out of the ground. There are more people around the farm. It's a really exciting time, and this is just gonna be the fuel that Nick needs to keep on going. The pasta has plumped up. I'm ready for the next step. I'll pour in a can of evaporated milk, which will be the base of the sauce. It's creamy and it's gonna stay creamy. It's not gonna separate like a typical milk out of the refrigerator. I'll sprinkle in a combination of sharp yellow cheddar and mozzarella, tossed with some cornstarch, which is gonna be one more insurance policy that this sauce is gonna be creamy. Oh yeah, it's already getting stringy and cheese pulley. This almost makes me want to sit on a tractor all night long harvesting beets. To finish this off, I'll stir in some kimchi brine for extra heat and pickliness, black pepper, and sliced scallions. This looks heavenly. The best part about packing farm lunch is that I get to nosh as I'm cooking. I'm so happy right now. Sprinkle with a few more scallions. And then I like to season it with some furikake, which is toasted sesame seeds and seaweed. So it's crunchy and salty and has a little hint of sea flavor. And it looks cool. Here I go. Yes, it's creamy and spicy, and it's got that little bit of funk, which I'm obsessed with. All right, I'll pack this up and keep it warm and spicy for my warm and spicy farmer.